GTCA 2011, is that the same as the other GTCAs that we've come to be familiar with, except more cities? I think there's 30 cities this time around.
Yes and no. I think as far as the spirit and the burden of the Lord's move in America or North America is concerned, I would say it is identical. But in terms of the activities, the scope of activities, certainly the intensity of this move, there would be a difference, I would say, and let me explain. But before we do that, let's go back a little bit. I would like to say that even though we didn't have the term or the acronym GTCA until 2-3 years ago, in fact, GTCA as part of the Lord's move to spread and increase the Lord's recovery in this continent is nothing new. So, for example, after Brother Lee's passing back in maybe 1999 or thereabouts, we had a first move of migration to take 3 cities. I still recall there was Memphis, Tennessee, and there was Charlotte, North Carolina, and also Jacksonville, Florida. We didn't call it GTCA, but in fact that's what it was. Then in the mid-2000s, we did something further with 5 or 6 cities, at that time with an emphasis on the campus work. And that move was in some cases in a place where there's not a church. But in some other cases there is a small church or a church that needed strengthening in its campus work particularly. So you have Gainesville, Florida, you have Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you have Phoenix, Arizona, you have Eugene, Oregon, San Diego, California, and so on. So these are all, I consider, predecessors of today's GTCA cities. Then, of course, in 2008, as you said, there Champaign, Illinois, you have Columbus, Ohio, and Charlottesville, Virginia. Then in 2009, there are actually 5 cities, not 4. That would be Boston, Massachusetts, Fort Collins, Colorado, Madison, Wisconsin, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Montreal, Canada. That's the first time we included a city in Canada. Then last year, or actually you may say earlier this year, we had 10 cities, and those 10 cities include Montreal. But on top of that, we have Birmingham, Alabama, we have Chattanooga, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Indiana, Manhattan, Kansas, Lexington, Kentucky, Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Louis, Missouri, and also Tallahassee, Florida. Excuse me, you also have Washington, D.C. So all told, including Montreal, 10. So that's what we have done. And by the way, I should let people know that by the Lord's mercy and the faithful labor of the saints and also of the migrating saints, I would like to consider each and every one of this move to be a success. At least for me, I'm a bit more involved maybe than some others from beginning to end. I really believe the Lord's blessing was with us very, very much. And so I think that gave us an increased burden of faith, even boldness, in taking this way to spread the Lord's recovery. When I say this way, I mean the way of sending full-timers to these places by way of using the ministry material as a spearhead to contact people, and finally by way of the migration of the saints to plant churches in these places. So with that kind of experience and level of confidence that we have acquired, based on that, we, through much fellowship and prayer amongst the co-workers in North America, felt that looking at the times that we're in the secular world situation, and surely in the so-called world of Christianity, particularly in this country, United States, that the time is ripe. The word says in John 4 that do not say that yet 4 months. Lift up your eyes. The fields are white and ready for harvest. And that is the strong feeling that we have about the present situation. So as such, there is a burden to accelerate this move of GTCA.